Got a deep cut here for you today. Just finished watching a movie that's from 1963. It's pretty old. I would imagine a lot of people haven't heard of it. I heard of this movie because I read a book by Stephen King called Danse Macabre, where it's like a bunch of like kind of like essay type stuff where he's like kind of breaking down the horror genre over the last couple decades. But he wrote this book in like the 70s or the 80s, I don't remember. So all the movies are like from the 50s and 60s, old as shit. And he talked about this one, and I thought it sounded pretty interesting. And it was originally called X, but I think subsequently they've just started calling it X, the Man with the X-ray Eyes. So I think it's better than you'd expect. It stars Ray Milland. I'd never seen anything. I think he's in Dial M for Murder, but I'd never seen him in anything before because I haven't seen that. But the premise is he's like a doctor. This guy's equally a doctor and a scientist, whereas he's developing this I don't really know why, I don't really remember why he's doing it, but he's developing these eye drops that'll give you X-ray vision essentially. He's like tests them on this mouse, and the mouse basically he proves that the mouse is like seeing through the white sheet in front of it to see the red and blue sheets behind it. After giving him the drops, so then he he's gonna lose funding or whatever. So he puts the drops in his own eyes to test on himself. And his buddy, who's like an eye doctor, is like, "You shouldn't do this." And he's like Captain Kirk. He's like, "Damn it, Jim! I'm the only one who can do it." So he tests it on himself, and basically and then it's revealed that like you think he's just a scientist, but then it's revealed like no, he's like a surgeon. Like he's called into surgery by this other doctor, and he's like a doctor, and he's like, you're gonna assist me in the surgery. But because he's taken the X-ray eye stuff, he can see into the girl, and he's like, you're operating on the wrong side of her heart. If your evaluation is wrong, if you cut into that, you're gonna like do damage to her. Like you gotta cut in the other way. And this doctor's obviously like, nah, bullshit, dude. You don't know what you're talking about. I don't believe that you got X-ray eyes. Blah 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 blah. So whatever happens, they do the surgery, but like right before they do the surgery, Ray Millard's like, I'm taking over. He like slices the dude's hand with a scalpel, and he's like, you're not sterile anymore. I gotta take over. So he takes over, does the surgery. He's correct, obviously, because he has the X-ray eyes. But the other guy's like, you're gonna get sued for malpractice. We're done with you. Like you know you can't do that. But then he like collapses. He's like takes more of the eye drops and he collapses. And then the coolest scene in the whole movie is, in my opinion, in the next part, he's in this like hospital bed, and you're seeing through his eyes, and you're seeing like his girlfriend and his buddy, the eye doctor, and they're both like, yeah, Ray, or I forget what's his name, James. His name is James Xavier. What a Xavier on the nose. They're like I don't call him Ray Milland. Okay, Ray, your eyes like. You passed out. Like you can't be doing this. You're gonna have to wean yourself off these drops. Blah blah blah. But it was a huge success. We're gonna get you the funding because it's pretty obvious that this is working. Like you saved that girl's life. Blah 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 blah. And you're just seeing them talking to him like as if you are him. The viewer is him. And then right at the end of the conversation, his friend goes, and yeah, tomorrow we'll take the bandages off. And then it cuts and you see Ray Milland. He's got these huge bandages on his eyes. And he's like, yes, the bandages. And it's like he's been seeing through the bandages the whole time. And I was like, what a great reveal. What a great cut. And it's like for a 1960s movie, like I was like, wow, that was like actually really well done. And I mean, so I'm not going to explain the whole goddamn movie to you, but because I honestly think you should watch it. It's really, really well done. It's silly and camp, but it's in a way that like if this was made today, I would be like, wow, this is trash. But because you got to give it like a little grace, you're watching a 60s movie. Roger Corman also directed this, who's a very well-known famous director. So like it's not surprising that this is good. But you watch him like he's like addicted to the drops. The drops also, the way he does the drops, I also find hilarious. Like he drops it into like the corner of his eye, like right here. And he drops it in there, and he blinks, and he turns his head turns his head like this to have like the drop into his eye, and I was like, I've never seen somebody put eye drops in like that. But the eye drops are like pure gold color, and it's like kind of disturbing the color they are, because it's like, oh, that doesn't look good. Doesn't look good to be put in your eyes. But Don Rickles is also in this movie. Just to say, at a later part, he's like joins like the circus to be like a, you know, you've seen like a dude from the circus that like he can read minds, and but like it's a gimmick, and they write like an answer on the card, and they ask a question, and he goes like, inside this envelope it says she's been pregnant for 3 months or some shit like that. But he's clearly doing it for real. So he's like reading, he's like telling people like what's in their pockets, and he's like doing that. And then people are like, you're a phony, you're a fake. And he's like, who said that? And like a guy will stand up and he goes like, you got 36 cents in change in your pocket. Your name is John Wilkes Booth. What is that? The first name came to my head. Your name's John Wilkes Booth. Your social security number is 35, 55, 75, 69. And you fucking, your sister, no, not your sister, but like you got a love letter in your pocket from a woman that you left. Like, it's crazy. He knows all this stuff, and the guy like freaks out. He leaves. That was all not verbatim. Obviously, I fucking just made all that up. John Wilkes Booth. So like, yeah, like things devolve into that, and like he gets addicted, and he's like doing more and more, and he's seeing more and more his eyes are getting better and better at seeing through. But because of that, he starts like saying these existential things where he's like, I can see this, like in the night sky, I see like as if it's daytime. I see past the dark, and I was like, wow, this is like interesting. But it's like, then it's like a 60s movie. There's like silly like character motivations and things, like Don Rickles' character. Because that's why I went on that rant there with the circus. Don Rickles is like, this guy is actually doing this. I'm gonna try and monetize this. He's like, so like he's like, which and then because fucking hell, it becomes interesting because then Don Rickles is like, I'm gonna use you as a healer, because then it's interesting that he is a doctor, because then it's like he can use his x-ray visions to, like, people come in, they go, no one can figure out what's wrong with me, and then he can look at them and go, oh, you're back, you're back, there's something wrong with your back, there's a knot here, blah blah blah, your spleen is doing this or that. It's because it's like he has doctor knowledge, so it becomes like actually super interesting that like that's how he's gonna use it. But then so I don't want to spoil again. I already said I'm already telling you way too much. Go watch this movie. It's very good for like a 60s horror sci-fi. It's the Stephen King book, and its own genre is listed as horror. I don't think it's horror. It's horror in the sense of like, because nothing scary happens, but like the horror is in imagining you have these eyes where you just like, he's like, I can't sleep. He's like, I want like what I wouldn't do for darkness. I can't see darkness anymore. And I was like, Jesus Christ, that's like super interesting. But now, okay, so now I would say if you're gonna watch it, cut off now, jump out now, and go take a peek, and then come back after this. I'm gonna spoil the ending because I just want to talk about the ending. 'Cause I want to talk about what the ending was supposed to be. And I learned this in the King book, which it almost is, and it's like, I think it's a perfect ending. So it's really disappointing they don't go with it. So, I mean, that was spoiler-free-ish. It's like a little spoilery, but this is gonna be real spoiler. So the end of the movie, you reveal that his eyes have been like getting darker and darker, and then he has black eyes, and then at one point he takes them off and he has black eyes with like golden pupils, and that's like the height of his eyes being crazy. And he goes to, like, he's like in the middle of the desert, he's running from the cops for whatever reason, I'm not gonna get into it, but he like finds like some church, and they're like praising God, and it's like one of those churches where like the people are like, my back hurts, and the priest, they go up to the preacher, and he's like, God, take this hurt from this person, make them well again. And then the person just goes like, oh my God, I haven't been able to walk straight for 3 years, and my back is healed. Like kind of one of those. And he's like going in there. He's like, he's desperate. So he goes in, but he starts telling them like, basically God isn't real, because he can see, because he's like, I see beyond space and time. You couldn't even comprehend the things I'm seeing. Because like he's been addicted to the drop. So he's like he's seeing, like it kind of stops explaining what he's seeing, but he's like saying like he sees molecules and blah 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 blah. So he's going crazy. He's like, and then like they like quote some sort of Bible verse at him, and they go, if you don't see If what you see offends you, then pluck it out. And he's like, they keep going, pluck it out, and he's like crazy at this point, and he just goes, pluck it out, and you realize, he's about to fucking rip his eyes out, obviously. So he goes down, and he comes back up screaming, and his eyes are gone, and it's like, that's how the movie ends. And it's, it's disturbing, I guess, for a '60s audience. Certainly it was disturbing. It's not that crazy to us, I'm sure. But what I thought, what Stephen King told me, my buddy Stephen King, he told me this. In the book I read, Stephen King goes, the original ending was supposed to be, he rips his eyes out, he has no eyes, and he's like, and Stephen King, the way Stephen King puts it is like, in the most haunting line that you could think of, the movie ends with him looking at the camera with no eyes, and he just goes, I can still see. And I got I got chills right now. Like, that's such a great ending. And I guess what Stephen King says in the book is like, the studio thought it was too disturbing. Bro, that's the coolest ending ever, especially to this movie where this dude's like has this issue. And my only issue, I think, other than, I mean, that would have been a great ending, but like, I just completely changed the subject. I think Ray Milland was a little miscast. I'm sure, like, back then they played up the celebrity, the actor. Like, you got Ray Milland was pretty famous, I would imagine, at that point. So they were like, we're selling this on Ray Milland being in it. But I think he's a little miscast. I think he's a little old. I think it would have just been more interesting if a younger, like, he's like 60s, and like the girl in it's like 20 something or 30 something. Like, he's a little old to be. She's like a love interest and she's not. I don't know. I don't remember. But because it's also short. It's like an hour 20. In and out, zippy zappy. You love to see that, don't you? So yeah, I would recommend. It's on Tubi. I watched it on Tubi. If anyone with that, you can have it. It's free as hell. So it's got to watch a lot of commercials. But yeah, I thought it was definitely worth a watch. Interesting. Something you might not. I just wanted to recommend it because I think it's something you might not have watched otherwise. I certainly wouldn't have watched it if I hadn't read Danse Macabre. So I was happy I did. I was kind of like, am I gonna? Is this gonna be anything? And it was for what it was. Like, on Letterboxd, I was reading some reviews, and it's true. People are like saying it's like Roger Corman is able to do everything with this concept that you think in this amount of time. Like Ray Milland, he does everything you'd think someone would do if they had X-ray eyes. He's, I guess I'm in the spoiler section. He looks at people naked. He gambles. He uses it to gamble. He uses it to fortune tell in the circus to lie. He uses it to heal the sick, like to look at people and scam them that way. I mean, it's a lot of scamming, I guess, but yeah, I don't know. I would definitely recommend it. I think it's great. It's a little, I mean, it's certainly old, but it shows its age, I would say. But surprisingly fun, pretty great. Couldn't recommend it more for what it is. And that's about it. So I can still see.